Okay, I just gotta do it. Jump into it. Hey everyone, I am finally back with another video. I took a little bit of a hiatus to get myself together, to get my inner thoughts together, so that I can present myself and actually come to you all in peace or with peace within versus coming to you angry or hurt about my own situation that I have going on. I feel later down the line, as I have gone through a healing process, that I would be more than happy to share my feelings, share my lessons, share where I am in life at that moment. But I just wanted to make sure I didn't come here angry. And today, since we're talking about anger, my discussion is more so about feelings. And I think that feelings are so deep to dig into. I think that a lot of people, even myself, want to be really superficial with their feelings because everyone wants to act like they're not struggling, or they want to hide their feelings, or some people simply have not been taught how to have feelings, so they actually struggle with what they're feeling or how to communicate those feelings. I would say a lot of us, including myself, the only feelings we know are the superficial feelings, like the happy, the mad, the sad, the depressed. I think there are some people who are definitely in tune with their own feelings, but for those of us who are not and who are learning our own feelings, I think that once you learn your own feelings, you learn how to communicate, and you just go to another level of being able to talk to people and recognize other people's feelings. So I really think that as a child, a lot of us were not able to feel. Like, we felt on the inside. We didn't know what those feelings were, but a lot of us, we weren't able to just say, I feel this way. And if we said that, if we had some type of feeling, it was more so met with how we're supposed to feel, or disregarded because we were children. I always quote Kanye from one of the MTV awards. I don't know which one it was, but he was basically just saying, like, listen to the kids, listen to the kids. And while at the time, like, I kind of had an idea what he meant, like, now in my stage of life as a mother, and as a mother who wants to raise a mentally healthy human being, I totally get it. Children are so fresh to this world, and they are so brand new to the situations and to the adult bull crap that's going on, that they see straight through it. I believe that I was one of those kids that saw straight through bull crap. Like, you could not tell me that what was going on was not what was really going on. And I feel like I have a hard time, even now as an adult, because I can see straight through the bullcrap. People, they don't want to say what they're really feeling, but their actions kind of, state otherwise. And I just think that I'm so in tune with myself that I am in tune with other people's actions. And some people might think that I lack humility and that I'm not able to see it from other people's perspective. Some of that might be true. Like, I don't think that I'm correct 99% of the time. I think that for the most part, maybe 75% of the time, that I pretty much have a good idea of what's going on. But just listening to the kids and listening to their feelings, I think that this world would actually be a better place, because kids, they really know what's going on. I do think that, growing up in my generation, when you did express your feelings, adults would tell you how not to feel because they didn't know how they were feeling themselves, or they didn't know about feelings. If we could just be honest, like, we are just getting into a world where we're talking about mental health, we're talking about feelings, we're talking about things that happen in other people's homes. I think as Black children, we're always told, what happens in this house stays in this house. So therefore, we can't go to school and talk to other kids and say, hey, is this happening at your house, or this is what's happening at my house? You have to kind of fake it until you make it. And I think that this is the generation for a lot of that to come to an end. I think that, in my household, I don't really care to tell my child what happens in this household stays in this household, because they're kids, they're people. They have a right to talk. Now, if you don't want them telling what's happening in your household, maybe you should get your household together. Maybe you should live a life that exemplifies God. And what would your child have to say? Maybe you shouldn't argue, get sloppy drunk or whatever it is in front of your children. And that would allow them to actually live and not be robots. I think that this world would be a much better place if we all learned our feelings beyond the happy, sad, mad. Like, could you imagine the conversations that could take place? Like, if someone throws shade at you and you're at a family event or work or wherever, and someone is throwing shade, and you pull them to the side and you don't necessarily say exactly what they did or start off with that. You basically just say, I feel confused, I feel violated, or more importantly, I feel hurt by your comment. And I think that this world is so afraid to be vulnerable, in a sense that they won't do that. It's so much easier to pop off, to tell them that you're not allowed to do this to me. And I am very guilty of that. I am very guilty of not being in tune with my feelings. And, basically telling a person how I feel. I know growing up as a kid, I was actually put into like anger management courses. Just, I remember on another video I had mentioned that, my parents went to court and we did the whole custody battle. And I think that I was, mandated by the courts to do an anger management. And like in school, I was very angry, very quick to just go from 0 to 100 before 0 to 100 was actually a thing. And so I went to anger management, and I had no idea why I was there. I don't think that anyone, to my knowledge, to my record, I don't think that anyone was like, you're in here because your behavior kind of makes us believe that you're mad about something or you're angry about something. I think that we have to have those talks with those kids, with kids, instead of, your child is getting in trouble at school and you go up there with your belt, or you go up there, not asking any questions, just, whipping them. I think that it's important to ask your child how they feel and what's making them act this way. For me, I plan to talk about feelings in my house. And I think a lot of men, they don't talk about feelings because I guess that it's this perception that talking about feelings make you soft or not heterosexual or whatever the case may be. And that is by far, not the truth. I think talking about your feelings on a deeper level actually helps you and prevents you from making mistakes or bad decisions. Because when we do something or that's not of the norm, or when we act out from our normal situations or from our commitments, we think that we're asking for help or that we're expressing ourselves, in a way that it'll be received. But unless you are saying, I feel blank when you do this, I feel that the conversation lacks humility. Versus if you say, I just don't understand why you don't want to do this. Or, I don't like when you do this. A person could take that as you're being controlling. Unless you tell me that this is how you feel, I don't understand it. I don't get it. And that's why I believe that, just having those conversations and learning about your feelings, you actually have to take the time. I have a feelings chart on my phone that I actually have as my screensaver, because I want to look at it daily. I want to make sure that I know my feelings so that when I'm in the middle of about to lash out, that I know that anger is just superficial. It's something that's much deeper that's making me feel this way. In my current situation that I'm going through, I feel angry, but if I dig deeper, I know that I feel hurt. I feel out of control in a sense, because my feelings are all over the place. I don't know how to grab them and put them in this compartment and deal with them. And I think a bigger feeling that I am trying to fight is bitterness. I was listening to Joel Osteen today, a sermon that a friend sent me about beating bitterness. And because I am because I'm becoming in tune with my feelings, I knew that the situation that I'm in right now had the potential to make me bitter. And for me, I think on a superficial level, as I explained it to a couple people before, bitterness to me is the angry Black woman that acts like she's on her period 24/7. I've come in contact with a few, and you really don't know why they're that way, but it's because life has made them bitter. And that is something that I don't want to do, or a road that I don't want to go down. So I know that, I know that feelings are only temporary. But I feel that bitterness can last a lifetime. It's just so many things that you can, or that so many things that, so much hurt that keeps building up and building up and building up. And it gets to a point that, you can't even deal with people, or people can't even deal with you, because you're so bitter. You won't allow yourself to open back up. You won't acknowledge that you're bitter. That's why you're bitter. I think that if people could actually acknowledge that they're hurt and that they're bitter and that they haven't let something go yet, that maybe they could make that conscious decision to make different steps, to do different things to fight against that bitterness. I think not recognizing your feelings, like I said, would have you making decisions that aren't of God, not knowing who you are. Because if we don't, I believe if you don't know your feelings, how do you know who you are? How do you know whose you are? And when I say whose you are, for those of us, for me, I believe in God. And I think that knowing God actually helps me recognize my feelings. Because if I didn't, I would just be angry and want to stay angry. Or I would just be happy if something went my way. But I think the beauty in it is, if something doesn't go my way, I can realize that, I might be jealous, or I might be confused, and then I can take those feelings to the Lord and deal with them. I think not knowing your feelings can have you looking for happiness in all the wrong places, because you simply are chasing a feeling that you don't know how to describe. So for me, and all my mess currently that I'm going through, and my struggles, because we all struggle. And if you try to, go through your life and pretend like you don't struggle, I think that would have you on the tallest bridge ready to jump. Because you haven't accepted your struggles. You haven't accepted that as Christians we're going to struggle. So as I'm going through, my everyday life and dealing with my everyday, every minute changing feelings, I'm just encouraged to continue to learn about different feelings. If I'm feeling some type of way, I Google it. And that might not be the safest thing, because I've actually ended up reaching out to my therapist saying, hey, I'm feeling this way. I think I might have this. But it's just getting to learn myself and getting to know who I am as a person through my feelings that I wasn't allowed, or I wouldn't say allowed, but I wasn't able to express as a child, because the vocabulary or the communication between adult to child simply was not there. And that says a lot, because you have a lot of parents or older adults who are going through life not knowing their feelings for that very simple reason. You have a lot of people who are floating through life as robots. And some kids, they probably don't even get the chance to experience their feelings because of their household, because of, they're not allowed to feel or be a child, or they have to, take care of they have to do daily tasks by taking care of the home, taking care of their younger sibling, or they have the pressure of their parents telling them they have to get good grades. So they operate through fear. And maybe fear is the only feeling that they have. And I think that says a lot. I think that says a lot for why so many people aren't transparent. I think it says a lot because people feel on that superficial level, they feel that they have to put on this persona or this output of being something or someone that they're truly not, just to survive. I remember growing up and wondering why a certain person lied so much. Like, this person would lie and you didn't even ask them for the lie. They would just come to you with the lie. And I think they felt this fear of being a people pleaser or having to have it all together, that they simply made up these lies to feel as if they were important or if they had something going on. And I feel that once you get in tune with your feelings and start figuring out who you are as a person, that fear leaves. You're not afraid of anyone because you're owning your own feelings. And when you start owning your own feelings, you truly are living. And I think that gets me to a point of me expressing my feelings to someone, and they'll come off and say, have you ever been told you're too sensitive? And for a while, I started to believe that I was too sensitive. But if I really think about it, no. I think that I'm just in tune with how I feel. And I'm sorry that me being in tune with how I feel, or how, me telling you how this situation made me feel, I'm sorry if that comes off as too sensitive, because I won't ignore my feelings just to get by. I do believe that we have to understand that this world is a cold place. But I also believe that doesn't mean that around our family, in our work environments, or whatever, that we have to ignore our feelings. Do what you gotta do to get where you gotta go. I simply don't agree with that. People who cannot voice their feelings or have empathy, those are people who I do not want in my life. Because they're creating a hardness around you, as if I have to take what's being said or what's going on. Well, that is completely my spiel for today on feelings. And like I said, when I go through the healing process of, when I go through the healing process and I'm ready to speak on my own situation to help others, when I can do that properly, I will be more than happy to come and share that with you guys. As I'm continuing to find my peace and who I am as a person, I pray that you are doing the same thing. And as always, I wish you peace, love, and joy. And I hope to see you on the next story, the next episode. Have a good evening.